like that to a customer, being familiar what's going on in the industry. All right?
Constantine, just one other thing before you start. If anybody wants an inverter catalog on CD, it's over here on the table. This is what it looks like. So just help yourself before you leave. Thank you.
And back to my questioning here. Guys, if I go too fast, because I have a tendency to do so, slow me down, okay? I'm one of you guys. So, the reason I'm asking, I asked this question is twofold. First of all, we need to know what we're measuring, okay? When you take DC, you measure DC. You put the probes in the appropriate, position, you put the selector switch to DC, and you're measuring actually a value of what? Of a level of value of voltage and so forth. When you measure AC, obviously you know that AC fluctuates over a period of time, over a period of what? Over a period of time. So obviously you cannot capture this waveform at any point in time. So you don't know whether you're capturing the peak, the negative peak. So you're measuring something that's called what? Root mean square. Now what is the root mean square is? In practical applications, whenever you're measuring something, an AC, with your meter itself measures the equivalent DC value of that. So when you take your meter and you're sticking out across the receptacle, you're actually measuring the DC equivalent of an AC wave. That's why they call it root mean square. And if you analyze them mathematically, so what you're typically doing is, just from the practical point of view, you're measuring this, okay? You're squaring it. You're taking this and you're squaring it. When squaring something that is negative, you get a positive. Taking the square root of a positive, what you're going to get? Positive value. So actually what you're doing, you're measuring this, you flip it over, you square it, you analyze it, and you're getting a value. That's what you get, what? 115 volts. You're measuring the equivalent effect of an AC wave in the DC. And if you don't believe me, study it and you will see. All right? Because volts is volts is volts. Very similar sometimes would ask you is when you measure, for example, if you put 6 volts in a film, an incandescent light bulb, and 6 volts AC or DC, whether or not they're going to light up the same.
What was the formula for that again?
For this, they call them the RMS value. That's why when you purchase a meter up there, what do you pay purchasing? You're purchasing what? An RMS meter, right? And sometimes you guys actually pay a little bit extra money to buy a meter that's called what? A true RMS thing, which has a tendency to eliminate what? The harmonics associated with what? With an AC wave. You know what harmonics are? We'll talk about it when we talk about inverter. Okay? An inverter will be there. But this is okay? This stuff it's in the book, but I don't want to, again, this is not listen, my way of teaching is not to tell you how much I know or how much I don't know. My way of teaching is to create interest in the subject matter, because I don't know everything, okay? But if I can create the interest and you will like the subject and you proceed a little bit more, then therefore you will do some of the work for yourself to get a better knowledge for that. So keep that in mind, because I'm just one of you guys. Okay, watt is a measure what? Of power. It's the rate of electrical energy, and don't confuse that with current. Okay, so you have a light bulb, for example, that is rated what? In the amount of voltage and the amount of what? Of wattage, a measure of power. Okay, that it does. Okay, typical wattage requirements that you have for different types of appliances. You have in here it's included. You can see now. And why you can see now that different utilization equipment requires what? Consumes a different type of wattage. That would dictate what? The size of your system, because before you can sell a system, you have to find out what? How much power really you're going to supply that you need. It'll help you in the calculation. And it's very important that you know what those values are. Okay. Watt hour is measured what? Energy over a period of time. So typically what do we measure? We measure a certain amount of watts per hour. This definition is going to be very important when we deal what? With batteries. Okay? we're gonna talk about amps hours, so many amps hours, okay? 1 kilowatt is 1,000 watts, okay? So it's typically, it's a quantity of measurements of electrical energy for actually consumption as well as production. So you pay, for example, 12 cents or 15 cents per watt, per kilowatt hour that you consume, okay? And when you get your electrical bill up here, you take this bill, and what happens is you give it to somebody, and this is what what's it? And you either cry, or you look at it. And you get all kinds of information provided by the utility company. And if you, some of you, obviously, what you're gonna do is, you're gonna take this electrical bill, you're gonna say to the people, this is your power consumption, you're gonna explain it to the actually customer up there, and you said after you put you actually, photovoltaic systems, you're gonna see that some of these values in here, okay, obviously the bill is gonna, the customer only gonna worry about what? The final result, but actually you'll be able to depict to them the actual consumption of your system, after you install the PV. Okay. Some of the symbols, because we're gonna use this over and over again later on, some of you familiar, voltage, sometimes you're gonna see the E, the I, the resistance, and the watts up here. It's a pretty nice picture. Here's the sun, here's the actually system. Oh. Sorry about that. Grid type systems, we said it's easy to install, less components, grid supply of power. Solar modules, let's look at some of the solar modules. These are typical site types of solar modules. They have certain types of specifications associated with them. They can vary, typically 60 inches, actually the width, the thickness, and the weight. Why the weight is very important? Because you're gonna have to do what? Calculations when you put in the roof. If the roof cannot hold it, then you have to do what? Structural support underneath or above it somehow. How many watts does it can produce? They produce voltage, the range of voltage that you can get out of each one of them. Each one, typical manufacturer, see here, it can be more than them, okay? But the weight, a lot of them, what they're trying to do now, and I guess the solar guys, is they want to make sure that what? That this number goes down, right? And this number goes up. We like this number to go down and this number to what? To go up.
All right, question.
Yes, sir.
You said the volts are going from 170 to 205. Is that the actual voltage that each panel produces, or then we apply the efficiency?
This is the amount of power that you will get.
I'm sorry.
The wattage.
Is that what you're getting with this panel?
Yes. Each one of them will produce you, and it's something that is called a standard operating